Alright, boom. So today we got the night an unknown Larry Bird became feared. And I'm not gonna lie, bro. We've been doing our homework on Larry Bird. Like, feel me, 3 times MVP in a row is crazy. Feel me, y'all let me know in the comments. Him, Bill Russell, and Wilt, the only people to ever do that. But I have to say, bro, he has to be better than Wilt and Bill Russell just off the strength of it. Like, I've seen a video of this guy shooting a free throw from his nuts, bro. I can't put Wilt Chamberlain over. I can't put Wilt over him, bro. Like, at least Larry's actually a good shooter. He can rebound. He can pass. You feel me? He can score on all 3 levels. He can defend. He can do everything, bro. Like, I feel like Wilt is a crazy athlete. He had to have been. But as a basketball player, I got Wilt over the other 2, bro. Just off of pure hoops, bro. With that being said, I feel like he's one of the, I mean, Larry Bird, not Bill Russell. Larry Bird is one of the least credited players in the modern era, bro. Like, for everything he did, to not have him in your top 10, bro, I'd even have him over KD, but I'm not going to lie. I got him over KD now. He just accomplished so much more, bro. He won 3 chips, 12 times All-Star, 3 MVPs in a row. It's just like his career, his legacy has to be cemented. Like, that's just how it is. But that being said, let's get straight into the video.
Back in 1979, in the NCAA...
I am curious. The reason we are watching this, though, is because he got like, somebody bullied him and made him leave his college. He got his get back, though, if y'all want to see that video. But I want to know, like, when did Larry Bird become established in the NBA for him to, like, be known as one of the best players ever? If in college he was literally getting kicked off his team because how bad he got bullied. Well, he didn't get kicked off. He left his team. Like, he hitchhiked all the way home.
Tournament national semifinals, what we now call the Final Four. We saw Indiana State play DePaul, and somewhere on that floor, playing with a fracture in his left thumb that he had suffered the week before against Arkansas, playing through it without a word of complaint, without asking for sympathy, without missing a single shot because of it, was a 22-year-old kid from French Lick, Indiana, named Larry Bird. Before we
did he not miss a shot the whole game, or does he mean like he didn't blame the thumb for a single shot?
Into the game itself, we need to understand what this moment meant, because in the spring of 1979, Larry Bird was the best kept secret in college basketball, and he was about to stop being a secret forever. Indiana State had entered the season unranked. Nobody had them in the top 25. Their conference, the Missouri Valley, was not a basketball powerhouse. Their head coach, Bill Hodges, had taken over.
I don't know nothing about college basketball today and back then, so it's like, are they still a good team now or not, bro? Because I'm gonna be honest, I could not name you 10 college basketball teams if you asked me, bro.
Before the season started, after the original coach suffered a heart attack. Nobody outside of Terry Hope.
I literally just genuinely don't care. Like, I'm not gonna care.
Indiana was talking about the Sycamores heading into October of 1978, and then Bird went out and averaged 28.6 points and 14.9 rebounds per game. Led.
Yo, he's going crazy. I mean, I didn't care back then. Now I'm actually interested in learning. But what was it called? You went this crazy.
Indiana State to a 33-0 regular season record and the #1 seed in the Midwest region, and carried them through the tournament to Salt Lake City. 33 consecutive wins. The entire country was now.
And he's like, no one heard of him before this. Is like, how did he just show up out of nowhere and become that good of a player? Like, what?
Bird had become impossible to ignore. DePaul came into this game as the #2 seed in the West, a veteran, balanced team built around guard Gary Garland, forward Curtis Watkins, and an explosive freshman forward named Mark Aguirre, who would go on to be the first overall pick in the 1981 NBA draft. Coach Ray Meyer was a 66-year-old institution on the DePaul sideline who had been coaching the Blue Demons since 1942, 37 years, and had never once.
37 years straight as a coach as a college coach is crazy, bro.
Made a Final Four.
And they never once made a Final Four?
This was his moment. His team was deep, experienced, and had knocked off UCLA in the regional semifinals on the way to Salt Lake City. They were not afraid of Indiana State, but they had never seen anything.
Bro, they haven't got 3-point line. Like, this is what I mean. Like, he's playing far back.
And what happened in that building on March 24th, 1979, was the moment the entire country finally understood exactly what that meant. So let's get into it. DePaul.
Low-key, though, it is impressive if you think about it, because Larry Bird is still considered a great shooter. Like, from what I've seen, bro, y'all still consider him one of the best shooters, even compared to modern NBA players. I don't got him over certain people. Someone say he's a better shooter than Curry. You just lying to yourself, honestly. But we gonna move on from that. Him being one of the best shooters like ever in the NBA, while he was playing in college, the 3-point line didn't even exist. Is kind of crazy, bro.
Came out with a game plan that was simple and sensible. Spread the scoring around. Make Indiana State defend 5 players rather than collapsing on Bird, and let their experienced starters wear the Sycamores down over 40 minutes. All 5 DePaul starters played all 40 minutes of this game. That kind of continuity and depth was their greatest asset, and Ray Meyer deployed it from the very first possession. The problem was Bird. From the opening tip, he was operating at a level that DePaul simply had no answer for. He was shooting over their defenders. He was passing through their traps. He was rebounding on both ends of the floor and immediately pushing the pace. Every time.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, and I said this in one of my videos. I feel like Bird might have been one of the original archetypes for like a player today that does everything, like genuinely. Cause he does everything you need on the court, bro. He be shooting, he be scoring, he be defending, he be rebounding, he be passing. So I feel like they never seen too many players like that. Back then, everybody had a role. The guard going to create and pass. You feel me? Y'all got the score. You got the guy who's going to get your boards and stuff like that. Everybody was expected to defend back then. But everybody's expected to defend today too. But, you know, except Luka Doncic.
Time DePaul tried to take the ball out of his hands, he found a way to get it right back. And every time they tried to guard him with one defender, he made them pay immediately. Indiana State took an early lead, and Bird was at the center of everything. DePaul kept it competitive in the first half through their balanced attack. Aguirre was a matchup problem for Indiana State's front court. Garland was creative and dangerous off the dribble, and Watkins was physical enough to give Indiana State's interior some trouble. The Blue Demons stayed within striking distance throughout the first half, and the game had a tense, back-and-forth quality that suggested this was going to go down to the wire. Neither team could pull away. Neither team was willing to give in. Bird went into halftime, having already established complete command of the game, not just through his scoring, but through everything else. His rebounding, his passing, his positioning, his basketball IQ. For a generation of fans watching on television that night, this was their first real extended look at Bird in action. And what they saw...
Oh, because not every game was televised. So, like, a player at Bird's caliber in college who's, like, breaking out, he could just hide under the radar until he plays on a national game.
Was unlike...
But I don't know if that's better or worse, because genuinely, I feel like a lot of people would lose their will, but at the same time, it does make it so like people who aren't that good don't get propped up.
Anything they had ever seen from a college player. The combination
Everyone
of
deserves to shine, though. You feel me?
skill, feel, and competitive instinct was completely unique. Indiana State held a slim lead at halftime, but Bird was nowhere near finished. DePaul made their push in the second half. The Blue Demons went on a run that gave them the lead, erasing Indiana State's advantage and putting real pressure on the Sycamores for the first time.
Y'all not winning.
Ray Meyer's veterans were grinding it out possession by possession, making Indiana State work for everything, and the crowd in Salt Lake City was locked in on one of the best college basketball games anyone in that building had ever seen. And then Bird answered. Every single time DePaul threatened to take control of this game, Bird made a play that stopped the bleeding and swung the momentum right back. A mid-range jumper when Indiana State needed 2 points.
Bro, they lucky the 3-point line was in the game, because I'm not gonna lie, LarryBird would have fucked y'all up even worse, bro. Y'all lucky y'all didn't have a 3-point line. He couldn't eat. They weren't letting him eat all the way, bro. But if LarryBird had a 3-point line too, I feel like the game wouldn't have been as close. Like, he would have been able to score way more points just off of the difference. Because I feel like Bird, like Kevin Garnett, is a player who I have an issue with. Like, I don't know too much about him. But what I seen about him, like, on the internet, bro, he was taking the craziest, longest mid-ranges for no reason, bro. Just step back and take a 3-pointer. LarryBird was not doing that, bro. He was actually taking threes.
Timed pass to a cutting teammate when DePaul's defense was overcommitted to stopping him. Bird was not just scoring. He was controlling the entire flow of the game with the kind of awareness and intelligence that you simply cannot teach. The game came down to the final minutes with everything still to play for. DePaul had shown remarkable resilience. Aguirre, Garland, and Watkins had combined for 51 points between them and had genuinely tested Indiana State in a way that nobody else had all season. But every time the Blue Demons needed one more stop, one more basket, one more moment to close the deal, Bird was there. He was everywhere, making every shot, making every pass, making every defensive play, doing everything that needed to be done, with a broken thumb on his left hand, in the biggest game of his life. Indiana...
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, in modern NBA, bro, I'm gonna be so honest, a player with a broken thumb would not be in the game, bro. Like, generally, it'd be like he has an NBA to get to, he has such a bright future ahead of him. Why would he play in a college game with a broken thumb, bro? So, it's crazy to see him playing,
State survived 76
and
to
they beat
74.
them.
A 2-point victory. A barn burner that had everyone in Salt Lake City on their feet from start to finish. And Larry Bird walked off that floor having put together one of the greatest individual performances in the history of the NCAA tournament. The final line 35 points on 16 of 19 shooting from the field. 84.2%, the
Bro,
8th
what?
highest shooting percentage in Final Four history.
With a broken thumb?
A mark that still stands decades later. 16 rebounds, 9 assists, all of that with a fractured thumb on.
Bro, one more assist, and I'm not gonna lie. Cause I feel like, bro, I never heard about this, but one more assist, and genuinely, I feel like it would be way more talked about. But because people be like 9 to 10, people be thinking that's the hugest difference. But LarryBird was genuinely controlling everything.
Non-dominant hand. All of it against a veteran, experienced DePaul team that came to Salt Lake City specifically prepared to contain him and still had no answer. The 16 of 19 shooting performance set an Indiana State tournament record that has never been broken. The 35 points was the highest single game total of Bird's entire NCAA tournament career. The 16 rebounds was a tournament high for him. All 3 marks, shooting percentage, points, rebounds, were Indiana State records for a single NCAA tournament game set on the same night against the same team. With a broken thumb, Magic Johnson was watching from his hotel room. Michigan State had handled Penn 101-67 in the other semifinal.
Damn.
And Johnson spent the rest of that evening watching film of Indiana State. His reaction, shared in a 2009 interview, summed up what everybody who watched that game was feeling. We went back to the hotel and we were like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do to contain Larry Bird? We've never seen a player like Larry Bird. The best player on one of the best college basketball teams in the country, a player who would go on to become one of the greatest to ever play the game, had never seen anything like him.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I might not think Magic is one of the GOAT point guard, bro. I got Curry, but Magic was like, what? And they're dominating to the point where they beat the other team by that much, and they were actually scared of what they're gonna do against Larry Bird.
Meyer, who had waited 37 years to get back to a Final Four, and whose team had played one of the best games it had played all season, was equally emphatic post-game. His team had done nearly everything right. Their 5 starters had played all 40 minutes. Their balanced attack had produced 74 points, and they had still lost by 2 because of one man. Bird would go on to the championship game 2 days later, where Michigan State and Magic Johnson would hand Indiana State their only loss of the season, 75-64, in what became the highest rated basketball game in the history of American television.
The highest rated basketball game? What?
A number that still stands. But the game that truly announced Larry Bird to the world was not the championship game. It was this one, the semifinal against DePaul. The night he went 16 of 19 with a broken thumb and refused to let the Sycamores' perfect season end one game too early. Before March 24th, 1979, Larry Bird was a name that basketball people knew. After it, he was a name that everybody knew. The Celtics had already selected him in the first round of the 1978 NBA draft, the year before, and had waited patiently for him to finish his senior season. After watching what he did,
So they drafted him a year before? Like,
to DePaul and Salt Lake City, they understood exactly what they were getting, and the basketball world has never been the same since.
shout out Larry Bird, man. I'm not gonna lie. And the Celtics kind of did, I'm not gonna say luck out, because they did select him at 6 before he had that crazy game like a year before. And I'm not gonna lie, selecting a year before, I don't know how I feel about it. Y'all feel like that's better than the new like system, or is it like the same thing? It doesn't really matter. But Larry Bird was a Celtic legend, bro. Selected at 6th before he even like people knew about him, and the national game was televised. Like that semifinal is crazy. But clearly he was still expected to be selected at 6th. But I'm not gonna lie, Larry Bird, I do understand why people have him in like their top 5 and stuff. After you watch a player like this play in person, I feel like the legend just builds itself. But I'm not gonna lie, me personally, bro, I got him at 6. Like, I don't know how I used to have him out the top 10 and used to have players like KD over him, bro. It's just because, like, one player looks better, but at the same time, this guy just achieved so much more throughout his career, you feel me, in the NBA. And at the same time, and with his franchise, too, because KD has nowhere to retire, bro. And Larry Bird, bro, he does everything in the game you need him to do. Like, modern NBA, he'll do good, bro. I'm not trying to hear none of that. But with that being said, bro, I'm seeing y'all next one.